y'all, Mike from One Arm Brewing and Barbecue here. It's early morning on Tuesday. Today we're going to have a good cook. We're going to be smoking a couple of things of meat today, so that's why we're out here so early. Still had to have the hanging porch lights on there, you know. It's a little dark. The background of those trees there, it's a little darker than what it actually is, but you know, the light settings on the old camera are doing their thing. So today, enough with that. We didn't come here to hear that. We came here to talk about meat. So today we're going to be smoking a brisket point and a pork belly. So we're going to put the brisket point on first because it's going to take a little bit longer to cook, and then we're going to do turn it into some burnt ends, One Arm Brewing style, and then that pork belly we're going to turn those into pork belly bites here a little bit later. So it's going to be really, really good, let me tell you. It's been a while since we've done a smoke. We've been doing a lot on our new flat top griddle over here, and I thought, you know, summer vacation now, the kids are not in stay-at-home school anymore, and so we'll do something like this and have a good day of it, just sitting outside hanging out. So what we got going on over here, we've got a brisket point. Our HEB will cut the points off from the flats and sell them separate. You can also buy the whole thing, you know, if you want to smoke a big one. It's just the three of us living here right now. My son and his girlfriend come over every now and then. Trust me, this point is a lot of meat, and for the three of us, plus when Connor and Aspen come over, it's still a lot of food. And my smoke chamber over here on the Oklahoma Joe's, it's relatively small, and I've found that by smoking just the point, first of all, this is my favorite part of the brisket. The point is so much better than the flat, in my opinion. We can have arguments over that if you want, but I love the point. This will fit really nice away from the smoke chamber and allow it to get a lot of smoke and cook from the smoke instead of from the heat coming out of the smoke box. Plus, since we're also doing the pork belly, I need to leave a little bit of room in there for that. So this is the point. I've gone through and I've trimmed it. It came already trimmed a lot, but I went in and I trimmed back the fat cap a little bit to make it about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom. Opened up this gap. It was already opened a little bit, but opened it up a little bit more to make sure we get some seasoning down in there. For today, we're going with One Arm Brewing and Barbecue's hot brisket rub. This is salt and pepper, which is what you use in Texas, and I've added in some cayenne pepper to it to give it a little bit of heat and a little bit of garlic powder. This is going to be really good. Since we're going to do these up as burnt ends, we just want a little bit of flavor and a little bit of heat in each of those little bites. So we're going to come in, we're going to start on the back side, and we're going to apply this liberally all over this brisket. You know, originally I was going to do Chase's Hokey Pokey brisket, and as I was thinking about it, since our live cook on Saturday, I was like, you know, with just doing the burn ends, I'm going to do it a little bit different. So we've got this on the back, nice and heavy. This is going to make a really good flavorful bark for those burn ends. Turn it up on the side, get the sides. You know, there's a lot of conversation also. Do you cook it with the fat up? Do you cook it with the fat down? I'm going to cook this fat side up so that fat, as it renders, render it right down into the meat. Rosie's going off on a cat over there. For a while, that cat was MIA. So you'll have to forgive that. We're going to pull this back, get that seasoning down inside there. You know, that Hokey Pokey brisket of Chase is down at Dad Does Dinner. He does all this the night before and then lets it rest. I did not do that. Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, so we hung out as a fam, and I didn't get around to doing this. So there we go. Get down in this little part right here. We've got it all nice and coated. And we're going to let this sit while we bring the grill up to temp. So we got that brisket rub sitting on that brisket for about an hour as the temp of it came up to about 70-ish degrees. That's what it is outside right now. Had the smoke going. Today we're going with some hickory and oak, mainly oak heat, hickory to give it a little bit of a different flavor note. I haven't cooked with hickory in a long time, so we'll see what that does. And yeah, let's get a look at it before we shut down the lid. So as you can see, we've got it on the back side of the smoker. Got the smoker over here. Started with some charcoal, added some oak and hickory chunks to it, and we're gonna close it up, and we'll be back in a few hours. So we've been on for about 2 hours. Temperatures are looking really good, and let's crack it and take a peek inside. We don't want to open it too much because we don't want to let any of that heat out, but I'm desperate to look at it, dying. I'm not desperate to look at it, I just really want to look at it. So before I open it, here's one reason why we like to use these digital thermometers. So you can see that first 250, that's the inside temperature, and then 111, that's the temperature of the brisket. I could hook up 4 more thermometers to that if I wanted to, but I don't have a need for that. But if we come over here and we look at what the thermometer on the grill, on the smoker says, it says it's under 200. And the first few times I smoked on this, I was going off of this thermometer, trying to keep it up at 225, 250. And what I have learned is that this thermometer is off by quite a bit. So you can see back here we're at 250. Here it's saying we're at 175-ish, 160. That's a difference of 90 degrees. And so you can imagine if I was up here, then I would really be smoking it at around 300, 320, and that's not bueno. It is warm. I can feel that heat coming off. So we're going to crack it and just look. You can see where that sensor is. So it's forming up pretty good. Close that back. You can see just opening it that much dropped that temp 15 degrees. So don't do that a lot, folks. It's looking good. It's smelling great. Hey everybody. It's about 4 hours in, 4.5 hours in. Everything's going really good on that brisket. We're about to pull it off, put it in a pan to help moisten it up. It's getting really, really good looking. At this time, we're also going to cut up the pork belly so we can make those pork belly bites, the pork belly burn-ins, if you want to call them that. It's getting really, really exciting. It's going to taste so good here in a little bit. So here's the pork belly. Got this at HEB. It's about 2 pounds. You can get them much bigger. This is the first time I've seen them small, and I've not cooked a pork belly before, so this is the first time, so I didn't want to, waste a whole lot in case I screwed something up. It's about $8. It's a pretty good deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into about 1-inch cubes. So we're just going to come in and cut them into some strips first. Should be able to get 4 strips out of it. Maybe a little thinner on that last one. And then we're going to rotate. So what they're going to do is they're going to shrink up as they cook and render down. So we've got this going. First daughter Jude coming out to enjoy the outdoors. So we've got them cubed up. We'll hit them with some rub. We're going to hit them with that same hot and spicy rub, which is basically salt and pepper. We're going to hit it with that first. Get a good coating on here. We're going to try to get it on all sides. Before we flip them over, we're going to take some of our one-arm barbecue pork rub, come in over it. And we'll just kind of rotate them around. We're just looking for even coating. You can see there's a lot of fat content on these. That's just going to make it really flavorful. And what we've got is we got a baker's rack. So we're going to come and just kind of roll it around and just set them here on the end. This rack makes it really easy to move it around, off the grill out here to the table where we're working on it. I'm going to try to put the fat side up on them. That way, as that fat, that thicky fat renders down, drip down through it, it'll be just delicious. It's a couple of step process. You know, we've got this rub on it, and then we'll smoke it, and then we will pull it off, put it in a pan, and add another layer of flavor to the top of that. All right, so you can see we've got them cubed up over on this side of the rack. I just pulled that brisket out. It's looking really good. That bark is forming really, really well. I'll put it in a pan, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of beer down to the bottom, and then we're gonna close it up with some foil. So we don't need to get much more smoke on it, but we do want to get that temp up going. We can stick a probe down through that, and we're gonna drop it back on the grill. One thing you'll notice, I've got gloves on, but I've got glove liners inside that let me handle the hot meat, you know, handle the racks and stuff without burning myself. So here we have them. It'll be another 4 hours or so, and this stuff's gonna be really, really good. So we've got the pork bites, we've got the burn in, the point still going. One of the great things about summer, get that light fixed back there. Yeah, there we go. One of the great things about summer is just hanging out, you know, and not doing a lot. Had the opportunity to do some yard work today, sprayed some more mosquito spray. If you've not tried the Paul Harvey, the Paul Harvey mosquito spray, I highly recommend it. We've used it for a number of summers, and if you remember that the old radio show, Paul Harvey, you know, doing the news, but he also had this formula for mosquito spray, which actually really works. And we tried it about 4 years ago, and we use it every summer. It's blue mouthwash, a handful of cans of stale beer. I've always just used beer, just let it warm up and use it. Don't worry too much about the stale. Cheap beer works just as great as expensive beer. And Epsom salt. So if you Google that, you'll find the ratio of what you need to mix in for everything. Sprayed it about a month ago for the first time here this year, and we were sitting outside the other night, noticed 1 or 2 little mosquitoes for the first time, and oh, check it out. Oh, he's right around the tree. A nice red cardinal just flew in with his wife hanging out. Let's see if I can get a shot of them for y'all. There he is, peeking right around. There he is. Yeah, there he is, and with the little sparrow going in, he's off. We get some good blue jays, some good robins, some good cardinals, a lot of finches, a lot of sparrows, and then some mourning doves. We're not a big fan of the mourning dove. I don't mind them, but Ella isn't a fan of the noise they make. You know, my buddy Chase at Dad Does Dinner, he and I always talk about doing something nice for other people. You know, do something nice for the environment. Do something nice for the birds. We have a number of bird feeders around, a bunch of different kinds of seed, suet, some watering stations for them. And oh, there's the female. I'm not going to get it around. They're really cool. They're gray, and they've got like a red mohawk on the top. Which is pretty cool looking. So anyways, do something nice for somebody. Do something nice for the environment. Do something nice for the birds. You know, I get a lot of pleasure sitting where my computer sits, sitting looking out in the backyard, enjoying the view of the trees and the birds coming in. Some really spectacular finches. We've got this really nice set of red ones that come. They are just gorgeous to look at. So anyways, do something nice. One of the other things we discovered about summer a number of years ago, my son Connor, he used to do travel baseball, and in the summers, every weekend was a tournament somewhere across Texas. Lots of fun hanging out as a family. Me and Connor grew really close on those trips. A lot of good food. Sitting at the ballpark, you know, ballpark food, people think about, you know, hot dogs and nachos and popcorn and peanuts. Well, that one of those years we discovered these. Let me see if I can get a shot of this. These are Tularosa Groves, New Mexico grown pistachios. And so my folks had given me a couple of bags of these that year. One that has some spicy sauce on, like some spicy seasoning, like some chipotle or some chili powder. And the other were just plain. We found that we really love pistachios. So sitting out in the sun, you know, cover your head so you don't get burned, but sitting out in the sun, eating some pistachios. That takes me back to those summers traveling with Connor and baseball. And, you know, we don't have baseball right now unless you're watching the Korean baseball. I've watched a little bit of it. It's fun. I do a lot of simulated baseball with this program called OOTP. It's a lot of fun too. But yeah, these pistachios, these are the chili powdered ones. I get a bag of these every Christmas from my folks. You can see when I pull one out here, they've got some really good chili powder on them, and they've got just the pistachio flavor plus that chili heat. It's just really, really good. Let me show you that bag front again. Tularosa Groves pistachios, hit them up. They're really good. I'm gonna sit out here and just eat some pistachios and enjoy the birds. All right, so we're about 3 hours in on those pork belly burn-ins. About 7 hours total on the brisket point. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna check those pork belly ones, see if they're probe tender. We're just gonna take our Thermopin and see if it's tender, and if it is, we're going to pull them off and we're going to do some things, put them in a pan and add some good stuff, then put them back on for another hour and a half or so. We're getting really close to things being done. All right, so here we got them. Pulled them off. They're really, really tender. The probe just goes right in on them. So we transferred them over to a pan, and what we're going to do is we're going to come in. I've got some butter and some brown sugar. So we'll just put this brown sugar on first. This will just make them really sticky, sweet. Got that good smoke flavor. And then we've got this butter, add a little bit more fat to them. You know, fat is flavor, as Sam the cooking guy likes to say. So we'll drop this in. Get the rest of this brown sugar in. And then get them all covered up pretty good. And I've got some honey here. This is from my buddy Chase. He gets this locally sourced down in Houston. The Bee Charmers. This is local honey from the Montgomery area. This stuff is really good. And so we're going to come in and we're just going to drizzle some of this honey over that too. About like so. That's some good stuff right there. Cover it up with the foil. And go back on for about another hour 15 or so. All right, let me get down here. So we just pulled everything off. Smells incredible. We're gonna deal with the brisket burn ends first, the brisket point. Let's give it a look. Oh man, look at this. Look at this beauty. Tender, moist. Let's cut into this and see what we got going on. You can see right there. Look at that. Look at that tender. Oh man, it smells incredible. We're going to cut this into cubes, just like we did the pork. We'll put some sauce on it, and we will put it back in for a little bit longer to kind of over it. We're going to save that one there to eat ourselves. Yeah, man, let me tell you, this is incredible smelling. We're going to put these back in that juice. Remember, it was that beer, but also the rendered down fat come down in it. I'll tell you, burn ends, that's like a Midwest thing. We don't do them too much down here in Texas. I remember having them for the first time in Kansas City, and oh my gosh, I fell in love with them. I will get them anytime I can. I love that bark. I mean, look at this. Look at that bark on that. And just look at the juiciness of that brisket. Cutting out some of the fat at this point. I'll give it to the dogs. Because you don't want that fat in all your bites, you know, when you're eating these. Dogs will be very happy this evening. And the smell, incredible. Let's give some to the dogs. Rosie, here you go. That bark on there, man, it's really, it formed really well. You know, that's that rub that we put on there, that brisket, spicy brisket rub, which is salt, pepper, and cayenne. Chase was asking me earlier what the ratio of that was. It's about 1 part salt, kosher salt, coarse kosher salt, 1 part pepper. About half part of that is the cayenne, and then about a half of the cayenne, so about 1/4 of the salt and pepper is the garlic powder, maybe a little bit less than that. So let's look at these here. So we've got them sitting in that juice. We've got some of our one-arm barbecue sauce. We're going to come in. I'm just going to go over it like that. Kind of get them all mixed up in it really well. And then this is going to go back on the heat for about another 30 or 45 minutes. It'll be snack time. So we'll go ahead and set this out of the way while we look at the belly. Oh, look at that again. That is just sweet, sugary, bacony pork goodness. And we're going to put some of the barbecue sauce down on it also. This is One Arm's spicy Texas barbecue sauce. And we will just kind of let that mix up. We're going to put these both back on. Like I said, another 30-45 minutes. And we are going to be good to go. Here's what we're looking at. That's the brisket in the back, burn in. Here's that pork up front. Yeah, another 30-45 minutes. That's gold, baby. All right, so we've pulled them off. The brisket we put on just after 8. And panned it after 4 hours, 4-ish hours. And then after 3 hours, we put it in the sauce, cut it up. And then those bacon bites, the pork belly bites have been since about 1. So let's give these a look. So here's the brisket burn ends. Here's the pork belly. We'll go for a brisket one first. Let's go for this. Whew. They are crazy hot. Let's do this. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those bad boys off. We're going to take one of these. This one there looks really good. And let's just look at these. So here's that brisket one. Look how tender that is. You got the smoke ring on it. Then here's the one I'm really dying for. I've never cooked pork belly, and my buddy Chase at Dad Does Dinner, he loves it. He makes his own bacon. I'm not to that level yet, but let's give the brisket a bite. Whew, they are smoking hot. Oh man. Tender. That's a good amount of heat from that cayenne and the rub. Taste some of that smoke, taste that barbecue flavor. Oh man, that's really, really good. The dogs sampled the fat outside and they really had a good time with it. Let's go for the bacon. So remember this one, whew. Had our spicy barbecue rub, had our pork barbecue rub on it, smoked it, came back, pulled it out, put it in the pan. Dishwasher's now done. Put it in the pan with some brown sugar and some butter and some honey over it. Glazed it, brought it back out, put some of our One Arm Texas barbecue sauce on it too. Let's see how this goes. Oh, wow. Oh, man. This is good. Look at that. Look at that bite. Let's go for another one. Sticky sweet. Get the bacon flavor from that pork belly. The rub taste is in there. The smoke taste is in there. Man, it is sweet and really, really good. I think this, ooh, they are hot though. Got some of that heat from the cayenne too. This is going to be a staple here at One Arm, I think. Whew. Along with the other stuff we do. Man, I'm going to let that one cool a little bit more. All right, we'll get one more bite and then we'll sign off. Do something nice for somebody. Chase, I miss you. Still thinking about what you're going to cook for me from my recipes. And I'm making your enchiladas day. See, I can't roll my R's. This week for you. All right, here we go again. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Woo! Wow. That's so good. This is Mike. I'm signing off. Take it easy.